Great to see everyone joining us. Yeah, fantastic. It'll be a little bit quiet for a little while until we let everyone in. We've got 250 people registered for this class, which is amazing. So I'd say let's get started. I'm just going to do a brief little intro. Hello everyone. Hello our Alfaparf people. Thank you very, very much for joining us today. Little introduction. My name is Anthony Nasso. I'm the General Manager of Alfaparf Australia. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Be Onlife collection, and it's been presented by the award-winning team from Tsiknaris Hair, who you'll see on screen as well. In 2020, we saw the world change due to COVID-19, and this is not the first time humanity has been faced with a global challenge. But unlike any other time in history, this was different. Why? Because we remained connected digitally. We saw people come together, people supporting each other, people using technologies in ways that they had never in the past. And it wasn't just the youth, it was parents, it was grandparents, it was overseas relatives, it was actors, it was singers, friendship groups, strangers, companies like us, connecting in ways that we had never experienced before. So why is this relevant? Well, we're now truly living in a combination of online and offline. And it's precisely this characteristic of our lives today that was the inspiration behind the new Alfaparf colour collection, Be Onlife. I'd like to introduce the Tsiknaris hair team. So today running the class, we have Bill, we have Chris, and we have Dimitri Tsiknaris. The combined accolades of this team are a mile long, but most recently, Bill was awarded the 2020 AHFA Australian Avant-Garde Hairdresser of the Year. We had Chris awarded finalist in the 2020 AHFA Australian Creative Colorist of the Year, and Dimitri finalist in the 2020 AHFA Hair Fashion Video of the Year. As this is a color collection, Chris will be taking the lead in presenting as he is our color expert, and Bill and Dimitri will be discussing the cutting and styling elements to the collection. And without any further ado, thank you very much for joining us again to experience the Be Onlife collection presented by Tsiknaris Hair. Over to you guys.
Anthony, thank you very much, and welcome everybody. It's great to see everyone and be here and share. So thank you very much for tuning in. Like Anthony said, we sort of focus in and have been successful with the awards, but at the end of the day, what for us is that we need to make everything commercial and work for our clients. The Be Onlife collection is a beautiful collection from Europe. It's an interpretation that we've really come to love, and we've worked very, very closely with that collection. And today, with the haircuts, myself and Dimitri want to share with you is an interpretation, and it's very, very cool, and they're very simplified, but it's just the way you apply and the application towards it. So we're going to sort of explain the haircuts now, and we'll hand you over to Chris shortly. But what we're going to do is with this collection, basically the haircut that I'll be working on today is inspired from a 60s or 70s model, an actress called Nico, back in the days, and she was she was quite a famous sort of model and an inspiration, but she sort of lightened her own fringe, and with this color inspiration, there's a little bit of inspiration from that. So there's the variation of color that she did, and the haircut itself is very, very strong in that it has a very 70s feel towards it, but it has a really beautiful structure that can really work towards what we're doing in the salon. And some of them will have fringes, some won't have fringes, but the interpretation is very much the same. So very commercial, very easy. You can adapt it anywhere you want. I think the hero of this collection, ideally is the colors. The colors are just beautiful, the applications, the variations. Chris has been playing with it, and it's just been an absolute joy to be able to offer something to clients that are a little bit different. The metallic, the reflect, the shimmer is just, it's got an luminosity that is just incredible, and Chris will take you through that journey. Chris is going to demonstrate to you on this head block, but just the haircut itself is pretty much a version of round layers through the top, and square through the back. And what you'll find is that the square layers at the back just give you this really nice sort of shape that sort of collapses in and creates movement through that top. If you're going to have some volume to it, or if you're wearing it straight, it sort of works on crossing around and flowing through. That's the version without the fringe, which is very, very beautiful. And the color itself is gorgeous, which Chris will explain shortly.
Alfaparf in Italy, I mean, this is our interpretation, but I mean, all their imagery and video work is all really quite beautiful. So we've done sort of a couple with a fringe, without a fringe, just so you get a feel of, I mean, different looks without a fringe, with a fringe. But I mean, with online now, it's such a powerful tool. I mean, clients know what they want before they even walk in the door and sit in your chair. With Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. So with us, I mean, that's sort of, it's a big job for us now, like it's a lot of expectation. So you sort of do have to be on the game. So that's why I think keeping everything quite simplified makes it very approachable for us, time efficient, to pop these out in the salon and in salon time, like on a busy Saturday. But like Bill said, like, and that's what I was saying with online, like colour sort of really is the hero point. The long balayage, clever placement. Balayage was such a big thing, but now sort of noticing it's just clever placement with foils to give you that balayage look. And then with these new colours, I mean, they're just beautiful tones and they're sort of the hero of the work. So I mean, with the haircuts, we're working with square layers and round layers, and just in a very different way. With mine today, what we're basically going to be doing is everything is going to be coming straight up through the top of the head. But what makes it a little bit differently is we're going to be going square straight out the back as well. So you're sort of leaving a little bit of a disconnection through this void, which this haircut is basically a version of this girl without the fringe. So it's a lot of length, it's still a lot of wave, but it's just really beautiful glam waves, and it's the way that it's dressed out.
All right, my name's Tsiknaris. I'm the head colour technician in the salon, and I'll be demonstrating to you the colour techniques in the Be Onlife collection. Now, due to coronavirus, 2020 saw us in a new reality where the virtual world became our go-to. But today, what I'm going to give you is the fastest way to create a melt on a long layered haircut. Now, this seems to be the look that a lot of clients come to me and then they ask, can you do this? Meanwhile, I've got my next client who said, I thought my appointment was now, and I've got to apply the colour in a precise fashion where we get a nice seamless blend between the depth and then the light on the ends. But the best way to achieve that result is by taking channeled sections, so working below the temples first, and everything's on diagonals. So that way we get a soft pull and no hard lines. Now, I've pre-lightened everything. Everything's, I'm tracing what the technique is for you today. So that way you get to see how easy it is. So we're taking a section just above the eyebrow on the diagonal. And in my bowl, I have 10 BGs. The 10 Beige Glace was a color that I was in need of. When you have that client that wants the blonde, but not bright, it's got a really soft honey hue to it. It's a combination of cool and warm, and that's something that will suit, you know, all skin tones.
So with just this top area, while this is so all we've done through here is taken sections through, and we've basically cut everything on a rounded sort of shape. Then we've brought everything up. So every section you take the next as your guide, and then when you get to the sides, you just bring that up to your last section through there. So that's just the top being cut. Through the back now, we're going to work through this back area. So we're going to take a section just above the occipital bone, and we're going to take out the corner through. So once that's sort of done, we're going to sort of build our shape up, and then rather than having this sit being heavy and droopy, we're going to get a seamless effect through this back.
Jumping on, guys, now we're starting right on I'm starting at the back. We're doing everything straight out at 90. Purposely, we're starting with this dry, just so we don't have to blow dry on camera and everything like that, but you would go through and sort of do this wet, you can do it dry. I mean, this head block, we haven't cut it or anything, so head block hair does come, it gets a little bit scrappy on the ends, a little bit irregular, which I think would be quite nice. But this is just a super easy way to just clean up some ends. Put a little bit of a different shape. This one is, it's going to keep retain a bit more weight down the bottom. We've got another haircut, one of the ones with the fringes and stuff. Haircuts with quite a bit of weight. So it scoops in the back, but you still keep a bit of length to it. So, I mean, lobs have been sort of really quite popular, but it's longer than a lob, but it starts to sort of push into that shape. Which again, it's just different. That's the thing, it's just being probably a little bit clever. But in a simple way. I think, you know, with cutting, you know, styling is such a big thing in salon now. And at the end of the day, the styling is really quite important because you're really showcasing the colorist's work. You're showcasing your work as well. So we're sort of going to go through today and sort of how we curl in the salon. We've been playing with lots of different curls in the salon. I'm going to try and keep it pretty traditional with these and stay true to the images. We've been playing with a lot of curling away from the face with an iron. These are more traditionally where we're going to be using a DHD. We're going to be coming down or towards the face. But then it's all on the way that you brush it out. It's about your product that you use. Generally I like to use like this as like a foundation sort of product. And one thing, I'm not sure if a lot of people are playing with it, but this Style Stories texturizing dry shampoo, this is like a really amazing product when we're washing out our waves and playing with it. Particularly on blondes, it's a little bit of a hack, but it almost has like this little bit of a white residue that comes off when you brush it. But it really just, if you've got a bit of face framing, like color-wise, like money pieces as we call it, like around the face, it sort of just accentuates those and makes it really, really bright. But it's beautiful, it's not tacky, it's not sticky, and it just brings everything together, but it takes away that soft, fluffy feeling as well once we're finished. But I'll keep going with the haircut. Basically what we're doing is we're pulling everything straight out at 90. As we're working over the head, our guide is sort of moving. So everything is just coming directly out. Just cutting straight up at 90, and then I'll come back when we go to the top.
And then just with the haircut that I'm working on, I'm just going to bring it in the front here so you can see the clarity of the color. Laurie's done this color and has sent it up and we've done the haircut, but it's just an absolute beautiful placement. The haircut itself, you can see the back. This is what I'm working on at the moment, where you sort of get this sort of flatness through here, but then it just creates like this internal movement. So here you get this really beautiful looseness about it. It's very sexy, very undone. Very consumer-wise, it's gorgeous for someone that wants that little bit of a change. But Chris can talk to you a little bit about the color on this one as well.
So with the color that Laurie has done for me, we've got two sections. So we've got a natural black underneath, and then the top has the 5 UV, which is just a beautiful rich violet. I find a lot of the clients that want these colors, it needs to have intensity, and that's what we get from Alfaparf. All their colors have amazing dye load. Everything is super concentrated, and I like to mix a lot of my colors 1 to 1.5, and then that way I get, a beautiful consistency with the cream color. A lot of the techniques are quite bold in their placement, but it's the way that the haircuts have the seamless layering. That way we get a combination of the soft, and then with the color, it's got maximum impact. I'll just quickly, I'm finished one side now. So this shows you how easy this technique is. Everything that has been taken is slices. So that way we get maximum coloration. As in this one. So I've pre-lightened the whole head using powder lightener and 9% with Bond Builder. And what we've got is 5 UV, 7 UV, and 9 MRC. So the combinations of the violets and the grey are offset by the 9 metallic rose copper. And the metallic rose copper does have 2 pumps of RC from the pigments to give me a little bit of brightness. So the haircut that Bill's doing, if you can come over here, Mark.
We're going to incorporate a fringe so you'll see the colour sort of jump out a little bit more once that's done.
But this is the hero look of the collection. When Bill cuts the fringe, this is the one inspired by Nico, and the fringe has the 9 MRC, which a combination of the beige glace underneath, that's the foundations, offset the fringe and the top colour, which has a lot of pop. So that's one of the new colours in the colourwear range that we didn't really have before, and I've been really excited about it.
And I think that the cool thing with the colours is that it adds dimension. So as we know, as colourists, as hairdressers, with doing a haircut, some of these we pre-cut and then they look pretty sort of ordinary. But then once you do the colour, it just changes everything, makes it cool, puts it on trend. And then it's just the adaptation of the little things like that can make such a big difference. I mean, we've seen a lot of things and things move so quickly. So I think with this color choice that we have to play with, it just offers that little bit of a different thing that we can offer to the clients and stuff. And it's just beautiful, commercial. It really sort of, the adaptation is what we want it to be. And just with the haircut, we're sort of working through and sort of layering that back. So we're almost completing that. We're going to sort of work towards the fringe. You can see now that movement that it creates. So it just swings a little bit. It's got that top area that's got that little bit of disconnection through the back. And then from there, we'll incorporate the fringe. I'll come back to later on.
So I'm just finishing off my last section here. So this is displaying look 3 out of the collection, which is just a really soft melt combination of the 6BG in Evolution of Colour, and I've used 10BG to give us the lightness, but you can see how easy the application is. And then what I would do is process for half an hour and wait till we get the look. And then what we do is we pull all the foils out. Without rinsing, I've mixed up powder lightener and 12 with Bond Builder. And then what we start to do is feather from, say, the mid-length. And then we're just taking everything, all the lightener through. And then we're leaving that on. And then we wrap that in foil for 10 minutes.
I should know.
And then at the back, we don't have any foils placed through the crown, so we get that depth coming through. And what that does is it gives us a more natural finish. So that way all the face framing is highlighted, and then that way you get your focal points where everyone wants to see maximum coloration. And then just through those ends, we've got the lightener on, and then they're wrapped in foil. But you're just taking like big sections and then just like manipulating with your fingers, so that way, and it lifts quite nicely. And because you've got your highlights running through it, it gives you like that natural sun-kissed look where it looks like you've got no heavy lines, or it doesn't start and stop, it just bleeds into the ends, and you've got all your lengths highlighted. So then that way, at the end, you get that finished where it looks like, you know, you've been to the beach, and it's got, you know, that typical money pieces in the front that everyone wants to see. So
with fringes are a thing that, you know, they vary so much. You don't know what to expect sometimes. What I find with cutting a strong fringe, I'll normally just work with my barracudas. They're an excellent edged blade. And I don't want to sort of, it's a heavy fringe, so I don't want to like thin it out, but I just want to get and lift with no attention, just using my scissors and just working through on a length that I know that I can take it up and work with it, but I just want to see how the behavior of the hair works, what it's doing. You know, are there any sort of areas that are going to kick up? It just sort of safeguards you, and it gives you this really beautiful, you know, softer sort of fringe straight up. So the client can see it, they don't sort of freak out. You sort of don't get that, you know, tension where you cut it and it jumps up. You're lifting, using your comb, controlling it, and just working on those edges. And that straight away, you start to sort of see what it's doing, and then you can really work in what you want to do with it. So if it's rounded, you're going to take the corners off. It's just this really beautiful, you know, flow. And then that way you can sort of keep checking in with the client and saying, you know, is that length feel? Does it annoy you? Is that okay? You know, there's that safeguard that sort of you're working together with them. So nothing worse than sort of drying it off and thumbs up and respect. It's a beautiful texture. So it just allows the hair to sort of have that really, just that chunkiness, but I'll keep working on this. And
I wouldn't mind, I mean, the cutting is sort of finished. I mean, just really, really simple. Again, the color is still the hero, but it's really just cleaned everything up. Just really good way to feel that really well on really thick long hair, or even fine for long hair. You actually don't need to take too much off the length either. We're sort of just taking about an inch off the layers, so not too much. So we want to start to section up. Just go for a curl pattern. I'm going to use a GHD. What I have started with, because I didn't want to have it while I was cutting, and that's all I'm going to use. Another volumizing spray, that can be really cool added stuff for the curls as well. But because that I always like some sort of mousse as my foundation product. So the woody mousse in the Small Stories as well is a really, really nice mousse. I find that probably works better on like thicker hair because it's not too intense. This is a stronger hold, but because this headlock hair, I mean, it's finer as it gets to the ends. That's why I probably want something with just a little bit of hold. But I haven't used too much. Like I've used probably just like, you know, on the smaller side of the golf ball size. Just working through the mid-lengths and ends. And if you notice as well, all the curls in the collection, they're actually quite soft and just really beautiful. Like they're not undone. They do have a bit of polish to them, but everything is really, really relaxed. I'm just brushing this out. I remember years ago, when I was saying I always found it hard using, you know, which way to curl, good side and a bad side. The most important thing is keeping everything balanced so that your turning points are, you know, pretty accurate, all in the same place. But then the biggest thing is actually the way that we brush everything out. So I've started brushing out with like a wide comb, but then with a Mason Pearson brush, I mean, we've tried so many brushes over the years, but the thing with the Mason Pearson brush, it's like a liquefied brush, like in Photoshop. Like the way that it brushes it out, and it sort of just really adds this smoothness to it. And then what I like to do is like, well, I think that was another thing, you know, years ago when I used to curl, I used to be so scared of brushing hair out. The thing is, if it's set correctly and you've got the right foundation product in, I mean, brushing is something that makes it better.
it looks beautiful to me.
So I even find if you pour it, or if you want to really just relax something a little bit more, putting your hand underneath. But you can see what it does to that colour. It really just finishes everything off. And by going under, that's what gives you that more glam, a bit more vintage. It makes it more relaxed. I'm really a big fan, and we've probably been playing more with going away from the face, but we've really just tried to stay true to the collection. But I think with the colour, like, it's just really beautiful.
I'll just explain quickly a more commercially viable case for this is if you're new to Alfaparf colour, and since the redevelopment of colourware, what I've learned from Laurie and Viv was if you mix your colourware toners with 10 bulb or 5 bulb, it will give you a slight variation in result. So I've mixed all the tones in this hair with 5 bulb, and I've mixed them 1 to 1.5, which is the standard mixture. And what that does is it gives us quite a strong finish. But a term that I've learned over the last 12 months, and something that I find is quite popular with the younger clients, and then also in competition work, is like the variation in the hair can be described as bubble blonde. So you know the colours you see when there's a bubble and the light hits it, gives you those multitudes of colours. If you mix it with 10 bulb, it does give you, say, 50% deposit of the reflect, so you get a more shimmer finish to the end result. That way the colours aren't as intense, it just gives you like a soft hue of those tones. So that way you've got, I always find I've got double the options now, because when I'm using colourware, I can mix it with 10 or 5 bulb, and what that will do is manipulate the deposit of the tone, and then you can, depending on what level you're putting it on, you can get, you know, a softer or a more intense finish.
Wrapping up, we just wanted to say a very big thank you to Alfaparf. An incredible company, great support. You know, behind the scenes, you know, Anthony, Laurie, you know, just putting this together takes considerable time. They've made sure that everything's worked perfectly for us. Been very, very excited to be a part of sharing this collection, our interpretation of that. If there's any questions that you'd like to ask, we should cover anything, please hit Laurie up and then pick them up. We can definitely come back to you and answer anything that we've missed. And also Mark for being here, and he was here early, so he's been sort of zooming around with the camera, so thank you very much, Mark. But other than that, have a great week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you soon next time. Thank you.
Thank you.